Hello, friends. This is Nikki Shaheed. I am the co-director of Birthing from Within International. I'm a trainer for Birthing from Within, and I also hold Birthing from Within classes for parents here in San Antonio. I do birth story listening work for people who have given birth or witnessed birth, and I'm the author of Heart-Centered Pregnancy Journal. And today I want to talk to you about postpartum circles of support. So as we prepare for birth, we're often trying to cultivate an inner strength, an inner resilience, determination, and hopefully also self-compassion as we prepare for birth. But postpartum, it really is incumbent on the community to support the person who has just given birth, to support that growing family. It's too much to ask someone who is healing from the physical experience of birth, the hormonal experience of birth, the emotional experience of birth, and the social shifts that happen as a result of becoming a parent, to take care of themselves and do that healing work and take care of the baby. So this is where it's important for the community to step in and really show up for that growing family. We like to use the metaphor of the baby eagle in Birthing from Within. So if we think about what does the baby eagle need, right? It needs its eagle parents to bring it food and drop it in its mouth and nourish that little baby eagle and show them the ropes and help them figure out how to get along in life and eventually how to fly and how to hunt. Well, when you have a new baby, they're like a baby eagle, but you are also a baby eagle parent, right? At the first time you do it, you've never done it before. You're brand new at it. And so you need that nourishment, that support, and that guidance from the community. And if you're having your second or subsequent child, you still need nourishment, support, and guidance on how to be a parent to multiple children and how to navigate those adjustments. So your community is almost like a web that surrounds you that hopefully can carry you through that postpartum period, because it's too much to ask of someone who has just given birth to do that healing, figure out how to parent, care for themselves, their baby, their partner. And even in a household where there are two parents, it's still a lot of pressure on those two parents. And let's face it, COVID-19 makes that even more complicated. So what I want to do is explore with you, how can you tap into your circles of support for postpartum? Now, if you're pregnant, this is the ideal time to do this exploration, to get ready to have the kind of support that you need after birth. But even if you've already had your baby, I really want you to tune in and figure out, is there more that I could be doing to cultivate my community and take some pressure off of myself? I like to think of these different layers of support like concentric circles. So in the middle, we have the person who has given birth. And then beyond them, we have the folks in their household. So for some people, that will just be their partner and their baby. But other people may have more people living in their house, extended family, roommates, etc. So that's a system that they can tap into for help. Then beyond them, we have extended family members who don't live with you, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, etc. And your friends, your circle of friends, your community who can show up for you. And finally, we have the professionals, people with the know-how about healing bodies, about babies, about nursing, about what families need after birth. So I want to begin on the outer layer by talking about professionals, right? I want you to think about, what kind of support might I need from professionals after I give birth? So obviously you will still need your care provider, right, to make sure that you're adjusting okay and your body's healing. And then your baby will likely have a pediatrician who they go and see for support and to make sure that they're growing okay and they're healthy. So these are kind of the obvious folks within that circle, right? But I also want you to consider, what other kind of professionals might I need assistance from? Are there lactation consultants? Are there IBCLCs in my area who I may need some support from, right? It's very common for nursing parents to have some kind of struggle in the first couple of weeks. And so even having somebody lined up, right, knowing how to get in contact with them, kind of having an idea of who they are, can make it easier to reach out to get that support after you have the baby. And you may want to call people and interview them and get a feel for how they work. And, now with COVID, how do they handle safety concerns as they support nursing families, right? So if you can make those connections before you need them, it can help you feel like you've got a safety net to land in. There may also be pelvic floor physical therapists who could be helpful for you after birth as your body is healing. There may even be parent and baby yoga classes that help support you emotionally and help you find connection. Even if those are on Zoom right now, just connecting with other people can make a big difference for your mental health, for your emotional health, right? So I want you to think even beyond yourself, right? Imagine another parent who has a baby or is getting ready to have a baby. What are all of the ways that they may need or benefit from support postpartum? All right, and write all of those different professionals' names and maybe their websites or their contact information down so that you've got that ready, you've got it available. And hopefully you've also made some connections beforehand so that it feels easier to reach out and get that support. All right, then we have extended family and friends. And traditionally, this has been a huge part of postpartum support, right? Having people bring you meals, having people come over and hold the baby while you shower or just give you a break. And that's harder to come by now. We have to be much more discerning in light of COVID-19 with who we let into our space and who we let have access to our family or to our babies. And so I want you to think about the people who you can trust the most within those circles, whatever your boundaries are. Who are the people who can abide within those boundaries and show up for you in the way you need, right? And also make a note of how would I like them to show up for me? Because remember, there are different kinds of support postpartum. Some people are really good at being a shoulder to cry on, and other people are just really good at making lasagna. And that may not be the same person all the time, and that's okay, right? So consider, what are the strengths that this person has that could really help me out postpartum, right? And I want you to also notice, is there guilt coming up around this? Am I having reservations? We have this really individualistic culture in the US, right? We have this belief that we should be able to handle it all ourselves. And that's just not realistic for postpartum or really anywhere in life, right? But especially postpartum, as you're trying to heal and you're trying to navigate this new role in life. You need that support, okay? So if you find that there are internal roadblocks to asking for help from people who could be there for you, then I want to encourage you to work through that and to explore, where does this come from? How do I know to do this? Is it really serving me, right? Is this really serving me, or could I maybe expand what I allow myself to do? Even if it's just for this short period after I have my baby, can I give myself a little more space to ask for and accept help? Now, aside from the people who come over into your physical space and help you out, this is a time when we must get creative when we think about what support looks like. So that may be having people drop off meals and leave them outside so that you're having a contactless exchange. And yet they're still bringing that nourishment to you, even if you can't meet with them face to face, right? So who are the people who can do that? Who are the people who can pick up toilet paper for you at the supermarket and drop it off at your house, right? The people with maybe a little more mobility or flexibility in their lives to be able to go out and do that. Start thinking outside of the box on what does support look like, because it's going to look different in 2020 than it did even 6 months ago in 2020, right? So get creative and write down as many names as you can and think of as many ways as possible that people might support you, knowing that you likely have already supported someone postpartum, and that in the future you can pay that forward and you can support someone else. But right now, this is your time to receive. And it's okay to do that right now. In fact, it's imperative that you do that right now. So taking it into the inner circle, the people in your household, I want you to get real with them about what do you need to feel okay postpartum. So if you already have your baby, you probably have a good sense of that. If you're still expecting, then it's a guess, right? You're guessing just based on past experience, when you've had challenges, when you have felt depleted, when you've been learning something new. What was most helpful for you, right? So talk to them about that, because we don't just need somebody to bring us meals and do the dishes and sweep up around the house. We need emotional support as well. We need human connection as well. All right. So I want to encourage you to put the dots really close together for your partner or other people who live in your house about what would feel nourishing to you. And plan to do check-ins occasionally, whether that's once a week or once a month. Always start with what's working, right? Always start with, I appreciate that you're doing this. I find this so helpful. Maybe this other thing could happen a little differently, or maybe I need more of this or less of that, right? So that willingness to show up and have those hard conversations, right? And ask for help and make yourself vulnerable can really make a difference in your experience of the postpartum period. And also, it's important to be open to your partner's feedback, right? And your other household members' feedback. What are they needing during this adjustment? Is that something that you can give them? Or is it something that you need to step into another circle of support to get? Right? But as a family grows, every individual with that family is growing. And there may be growing pains with that growth, almost certainly, right? So let's make sure everyone in the household is getting some kind of support. Some of that may come from you, but a lot of it is probably going to be looking outward to other layers of that circle. All right. And now finally, you have yourself. How can you support yourself during the postpartum period? I was just reading today about bears, what bears do after they give birth. And they have their babies while they're hibernating. So they go into hibernation pregnant, they give birth, right? And their babies nurse, their babies are awake during the winter, but the mother bear is actually asleep for most of that time, right? And so I'm not suggesting that you go to sleep and leave your baby to figure it out for themselves. But what I am suggesting is that you maybe think, how can I take on that mama bear energy when it comes to my expectations of myself? Can I let the dust bunnies collect? Can I leave dishes in the sink overnight when I'm tired and sleep is more important than a clean kitchen? Can I allow myself to do takeout or ask for help or eat a casserole, right? To simplify my life. Where are the places that I can simplify and I can cut back so that I've got more energy to give to myself, to nourish and care for myself, and therefore have more energy to nourish and care for my baby? So I'd love for you to really take stock of your expectations of yourself right now and inquire within what could go, what could just be pushed to the back burner for a few weeks or a few months so that I can give myself an opportunity to heal and get my feet under me as a parent, right? And really figure out what I'm doing without all of this additional pressure. And I'd also like for you to think about, before I had my baby, what was it that brought me joy? What was it that would make me feel like my essential self? What would make me feel alive? And how can I tap into that? Even though I know it's not going to look exactly the same right now if I have a new baby, where can I find little pieces of that, little threads of that spark, right? That thing that brings me joy and keeps me going. How can I still incorporate that into my life so that I can feel more whole and more nourished as I'm traveling this journey as a parent? I'd love for you to draw this out, write it down, and put down as many ideas as you can, even if they seem silly or strange or over the top. In fact, that's a fun way to just open your imagination, is try to think of weird ideas or weird people who you could reach out to for support. it helps to remove some of those mental blocks. So my sincere wish for you is that you have a well-supported postpartum period and that you really care for yourself and bring yourself compassion as we navigate these challenging times with COVID-19. All my love. Mwah.